Hi guys, welcome to the video today. Bit of a surprise here. I'm thinking about doing these market walkthrough videos either on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll tell you why. Generally, when I do these on the weekends, the stuff I talk about during the walkthrough, it's usually, you'll find a lot of it's invalidated by the time we come Monday, Tuesday, because that Monday, Tuesday price action is, you know, annoying, and it's things that have happened during the week. They kind of get reset on the weekend sometimes, and then Monday, Tuesday comes next week, and price does something completely different. I find that Monday, Tuesday kind of sets things up for the week, and then you're kind of looking at Tuesday, I'd say London and beyond, to Wednesday. They're probably the prime times for looking for signals. So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are usually the better days for signal hunting, essentially. And Friday, yeah, you can catch some things, but again, you have to hold over the weekend. I just find that the weekend puts this, like, someone hits the reset button, and then the market has to like reset itself up for the next week. Basically, Monday is the worst day to trade, straight up. You take signals on Monday, you'd probably be a very frustrated trader. So talking about stuff that's on, like when we're on the weekend, and then going into Monday, and Monday just does its random stuff and ruins everything. It's just waste my time, waste your time. So I'm going to move this to probably a Tuesday, Wednesday thing, kind of like a midweek market analysis kind of thing, to as the market's setting up, and talk about the markets as we're in the moment midweek. Also, it frees up my weekend because I don't have to wake up and do market commentary on the weekend. I can just sort of wake up and be free of the markets as they're closed. So this is my market and analytics tool. It was a side project that I made because there was a lot of interest in currency meters in the war room for a while there, and this still is a little bit lingering around. Erebus is our currency meter guru, but I noticed that all the currency meters he was using, they either use percentage, daily percentage change, or they're based off moving averages. So basically what the currency meter will do is put a moving average across all the currencies and calculate how fast the moving averages are progressing, and do some math that way. I find that a little crude, so I made my own and I put my own twist to it. Mine is actually heavily price action based, so it doesn't use moving averages, which means whatever price is actually doing at the time will heavily reflect the numbers. So if the market's breaking into new lows, if it's consolidating, it looks at that. It's basically looking at simple things to tell us what currencies are strong and what currencies are weak, and it actually has a little side sort of a leaderboard here to show us what charts are strong and what charts are weak, which is different to this leaderboard here. So this was I put a lot of effort into the algorithm that calculates this, but the UI obviously needs a bit of work here. But UI work is very tedious and painful, so I just left it like this just to see how much interest I got from the market analytics. I had big plans for it, but I just had to put it aside for the moment to do some other stuff. But basically why I've got it up here is, let's just take a glance at the market and see what's going on, because we were seeing changes happening, right? And this gives you a really nice snapshot of what's actually happening. And you can see, from a bird's eye view, this is actually what's causing all the movements and stuff like that. It's not that I'm giving you this and saying you should go out and trade the US dollar Swiss franc. This is just basically saying that the US dollar Swiss franc is the strongest chart at the moment. But we're actually looking at the 8-hour here. I thought the 8-hour would be give us a bit more of a granular look at the markets. Of what's happening like right now. The daily might move a little bit too slow, but we can look at the daily. You can see that the data changes. So we're looking at the pound yen looking quite bearish there, but you can see that if you look at the lines down here, this is a time series sort of like history of what the currencies have done. It looks like a big mess, but you just match the colors up to the currencies, and it shows you, if it's up here, it was strong. If it was down here, it was weak. If it was here, it was basically sideways. But if we go to the 8-hour chart, we can see that, we've got a bit more of a story here that we can understand. And what we're basically seeing is yen and US dollar strength this week. And that's black and red. And we can see the black and red through here, and you can see they sort of converge together, and then they just go into like a locked-in correlation where they basically move from weak to strong. So generally, when the US dollar and the yen are strong, generally that usually means that it's a risk-off scenario where markets are kind of like, scared-ish. They're not happy with the current global environment or political setting or something like that. That basically, when the markets are happy, I guess the AU, the New Zealand dollar, pound, and the CAD, they usually go up. But when they're not happy, usually US dollar, yen, Swiss franc usually goes up as well. It hasn't really responded, as you can see with the yellow line there. It's kind of just done nothing. It's kind of hovering around the sideways area. So basically, what we can see here from the data, if you look at this, you'll pick this up really quickly if you continue to study this. I know it looks like it's a spaghetti mess at the start, but basically US dollar, yen, US dollar and the yen are very strong at the moment, and we can see that the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar are very weak. So what we should see as we go through the markets is any currency involving crosses between these two, like Aussie yen, New Zealand dollar yen, Aussie US dollar, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, they're going to be very bearish, okay? Or depending which way they're orientated, but it usually is usually set up that these two are in front of these two, so Aussie US dollar, Aussie yen kind of thing. So we're going to see those very bearish. So that's basically the market analytics tool. It's, again, don't go and put this on your chart and it goes, sorry about that. So yeah, don't put this on your chart and just look at these and think, US dollar, Swiss franc, that must be a buy, just go and buy that. Likely what you will find is the chart that's up the top here is actually most likely pushing into new highs, and the Swiss franc yen is likely pushing into new lows, and that's why they're like coming right up on the leaderboard here. And this is in the context of the 8 hour. So the tool has gone out and scanned all the 8 hour charts. If you want a slower reading, it's time frame sensitive. So basically you change the time frame and we'll get very sensitive. If we go to the 1 hour, now you may come across this issue. This will happen if you don't have enough data. So we're basically looking for 1 hour data now. I don't go on the one hour charts very often, so it's going to sit here and get 1 hour data for all of the charts. So it can take a long time. So if you see this, that can be basically a sign that you don't have enough data yet. The terminal could be downloading it, and sometimes when it's doing that, it kind of freezes up. Yeah, see. Sometimes when you refresh, go back, you can see it's starting to respond here. But in the background with this is MT5, so things like to happen in the background with MT5. But if this starts happening to you, it just means that the terminal is probably trying to get all the data, and it's happening in the background. It's not ready yet. Unfortunately, MT5 don't provide you with an easy way to sort of determine if it's downloading or processing data, unfortunately. So if we go back, go to the 1 hour, yeah. So you'd have to you can see down here it's downloading data. I think you have to fiddle with it. But you see, I have plenty of data for the 8 hour and the daily, because we basically got to go and find all the data with the US dollar paired with all these, and then the euro paired with all these. Oops, paired with all this. So there's a lot of charts it's got to churn through. So that can be a problem when you're first loading it. Make sure you actually have the history. And anyway, just be patient with it. And that's enough about that. So just wanted to give you a little introduction because there's a couple of new guys here and they don't know about this tool. I really should do a bit more of a tutorial video on it, but maybe I'll cut this part out and use it as a sort of intro to the tool. So let's look at the markets. The S&P is actually pushing up and we're reaching those all-time highs again. So this is a high interest point for the S&P. These all-time highs, are we going to see the break or the bounce? Most likely, you would have to just say we're going to see the bounce because we've seen a strong move into the level. Kind of looks like we've got a ranging environment happening at the moment. Could probably move this down here and that makes a bit more sense for the current context. We could probably move this just up a touch. So you can basically see these are the all-time highs here. They failed. They produced a very bearish move. We failed at the all-time highs here. We got a decent move out of that, and now we're really powering into that all-time high level as well. Again, so yeah, not interested in buying basically because that's a huge blocking level, and you really can only play the bearish card here. I mean, buying and expecting the market to go through that and hit your targets is pretty silly. It's most likely not going to happen. It could, but it's most likely not going to happen. If we start seeing a nice juicy sell signal off this market top here, like this guy back here, that's basically a no-brainer. We really want to, probably get involved with that because selling off the market top, like the all-time highs, probably going to get a decent move out of it. But if it does break, well, then we're going to be very bullish, and we really need to see it break and close above and see the market stabilize above the all-time highs, and then we want to see it really come down and drop buy signals on higher lows and show a strength above the level to show that continuation, because we can easily get a close above here and then the market can kind of like fake out easily. So if a candle closes above here, that's still no reason to just go in and buy. Not to mention we've had this like straight line rally and we haven't seen a correction for a while here. I think we're going to see a bearish scenario unfold when we start playing around with this level here. So oil is sort of consolidating a bit. We're seeing a strong bullish candle last session, so we're likely it'd be interesting to see if we get some follow through and we actually see a break of that. And if we do that, that's going to set us up for pretty much oil to be bullish again. It breaks those highs, and then we'll be looking for buy signals on higher lows. But this is more, like if you're interested in buying, this is more of a chart that you'd be looking at for those bullish breakouts, because you're breaking out from lows here. You're not breaking out from all-time highs. So if you're a little ambitious and you want to trade and start seeing signs of strength and you want to trade a break through that level, I mean, I can understand that, but to play it safer, for those who are just looking for the easy swing trades, if it breaks, obviously we'll look for buy signals on higher lows above the breakout level. Bitcoin is very bullish, obviously. We're just waiting for it to move back into position to give us a buy signal. Up here it just feels like out of position. We're at high highs. We shouldn't really be buying, on the market's pushing into new highs. We're looking for that correction and signs of strength. Obviously Bitcoin, it's in a nice uptrend at the moment, so it's a buyer's market right now. And we're back up to the $9,000 mark here, so we've made a big recovery on Bitcoin, and you can see there's a bit of interest here. So looking for those buy signals off higher lows if they occur. Probably not this week, I doubt. Ripple, just a consolidation mess really. It'll be interesting to see if it can break out of this, because if it does, we'll probably see a decent move. You can see there's a big squeeze happening at the moment. I said it a few videos ago. I was interested in investing in Ripple. I don't really know much about the crypto market. It's probably evolved a lot more than when I was involved with it a little bit. There's probably all this other stuff out there. Maybe there's another crypto currency that's like an altcoin that's sort of maybe taking Ripple's spot. But last time I checked, Ripple was like the third most popular with a huge market cap. So, and it's made for banks, and apparently some banks are adopting it and all this kind of stuff. So, Euro US dollar, still a bit of a mess. I don't really like this chart at the moment, and I haven't been trading it or really worrying about it too much. You can see that it's just wild swings up and down. We've got this overall broader channel happening here. So if we're going to play off that channel, the market's probably going to come down here and give us a buy signal down here somewhere. But even that would be pretty awkward unless it's very extended away from the mean. Then we can sort of like build it up as a mean reversion and sort of tie in everything together. But overall, I don't really see any opportunities coming up anytime in the near future. The pound dropping back down to its support level here, starting to see some bullish activity coming in at the support. This could be sort of like double bottom-ish kind of price action. First bounce, second bounce come in. We're trying to fake out through that level now, and we may get that follow-through bounce. Is that a buy signal? Well, it's a little weak. So if we go on the weekly chart, let this load. Okay, so you can see that's a pretty decent weekly support there. At least to the left, there was a recent bounce there. So, I mean, for a counter trend signal, you really want to see something a bit more powerful. But if you're looking for something if you're a bit more ambitious, you're looking for a trade here. After London opens, you could trade bullish momentum as, during the London trading hours, if there's any breakouts of the highs there and continuation of this. That's probably, a little on the ambitious side. US dollar yen starting to pick. This is interesting because just basically looking at this, I took a screenshot. So the yen was the strongest on the 8 hour. Okay, so if we go to the 8 hour, that's interesting because the actual US dollar, that makes sense actually. That makes sense because both the US dollar and the yen are strong. So if they're both strong, then the US dollar yen is not going to be doing anything. There's no divergence in the currency there. So yeah, that makes sense. But we've got some consolidation here. No follow through. I'd expect the market to pop higher here. But again, it's just been a mess. We're seeing a lot of lower tails on those candles here and some signs of strength. It's slowly building up. Just waiting for that pop higher, but don't really see the appeal of trading this because it's been lifeless. The US dollar Swiss franc, which was our strongest currency on our meter here for the 8 hour, and you can definitely see that bubbling up into the daily chart here. It's been pretty strong, and even if we go to the 8 hour, we can see some nice momentum. So basically what you do with this information is the market analytics tool is going to give you the strongest, the charts with the most healthiest price action, I guess. And what you basically do is just, I guess, put these charts on your watch list. And basically, because we're on the 8 hour, we basically go to the 8 hour, we get our leaderboard here, and we say, okay, these are strong markets. We should look for buyer signals on the 8 hour. You can see here the 8 hour has been producing some buyer signals. Some I'm not sure if I would have taken, but maybe this one here because it came off the weekly level. But you can see here that any further buy signals that do pop up on the US dollar Swiss franc, they're going to be pretty decent here. Like if we get a buy signal around here off a higher low, we've still got a bit of room to move to make at least 1 to 3. And because the market is being so strong, because the market analytics has just given us some insight that this is the strongest moving market for the 8 hour at the moment. We're trading with good momentum, so it's a nice little strategy if you're looking for markets to trade. Just basically pull out the analytics tool there, and you'll get some information really quickly on which charts are the hot ones that you should be looking at. Moving on to the US dollar Singapore dollar, which was no, that wasn't on the list for the 8 hour. No, it wasn't. I did put an idea on the chart of the day yesterday. Unfortunately, was it this one? I swear it was the US dollar Singapore dollar. Let me check. Yes, I was right. Yeah, so this didn't work out. So we were basically looking at this swing trade through here. There was nothing to talk about, which is kind of a curse I've set myself up for if I have to talk about a chart every day. Sometimes there's really just nothing going on, and I've really got to dig deep. So I did see this rejection here. It did look like it was set up nicely for a bounce into high highs. It's just that the rejection candle looked kind of weak. I did mention that, but it didn't work out at all. Probably, obviously hindsight's 2020, but probably breakouts. It's tough. Yeah, this is a tough one, because even if you took, if I say you take breakouts after London to help with that, high trading volume hours confirmation kind of thing, we're still dealing with the Singapore dollar, which is an Asian currency, so it's active in the Asia session as well. I think what happened here is the Fed talked, or the ECB talked, and really shook up things. So anyway, it was a questionable. It was a weaker trade idea. It was a good trade idea, but the signal was just a little weak, which was the key sort of like issue there. But we can see that the result on the daily chart led to a very large outside day. So we're probably going to see continuation of that to the downside. Unfortunately, there's not much room for profit here before we hit this previous support here. But you could easily break if you do trade this outside day. You could get a retracement entry here. You can see there's some retracement happening now. If you do want to trade this, you probably have to go for the plan where you ride it out and try and see if this level breaks. Then you're going to get some decent profit potential. US dollar CAD dropping an outside day as well, with that US dollar strength. That's interesting. The US dollar was strong. Why is the US dollar CAD? Wait a minute. Okay. Alright, we're still seeing a strong US dollar here. It's just that last 8 hours or so where we've seen that drop. So yeah, I don't really like this chart at the moment either. We can see that very harsh V rejection there, and that's probably going to, that sort of signals that the market really wants to push higher in the longer term. It just looks a little awkward. I don't really like the structure of this. The Aussie US dollar, this could be a bounce off a major level here. Again, it doesn't look as convincing as I'd like it to be. I'd really like to see some more compelling bullish price action here, but I did have that level marked. It is a major level there. Let me just check the weekly. Yeah, so if we go to the weekly, we can see this bottom there, and back in 2003 is what it's been a historically significant level. So on the daily chart, when we start seeing buy signals pop up off there, we could see a bounce off there, but that just doesn't look. It looks medium. You'll see some stronger signals as we move forward, but yeah, it's to go counter trend. Off a major level, yeah, the major levels there. I don't know. I'd be more convinced if we actually seen a better test of that, and maybe like a fake out signal or something like that. Something a bit more compelling to go, wow, okay, yeah, that level failed. or the level held. We had a fake out, a dive to the lows failed through that level. Some serious signs of strength happening around there. That's just, I don't know, it's just a little weak. New Zealand dollar, yen, I don't really see much going on here. Might get a potential sell signal here. We can see that the market's having trouble getting through that support. So it was a weak market, but we're starting to see some pretty good bullish swings happening here. We might see a repeat of that, of this. So we may go into a range or something, but I just don't see anything, again, compelling setting up here right now. Aussie New Zealand dollar cross is pretty flat right now. There's no divergence there between the two. The euro pound, however, I was just looking at this before. We'll look a little busy here, but I was just looking around this area here to see if there's any weekly significance, and there is, I would say, minor significance. But on the daily chart, if we go to current price action, you can see that we've got a minor level through there. It would be really nice if this happened up the top here. This is a nice, decent sell signal. I mean, it's sitting on the top of a big bullish tower. We've got resistance here. There's a reason the markets can actually turn around here. So getting a retracement entry is probably key for this one because it's a big signal. But what you can do with the signals that you don't actually get the retracement off, so you see that the market's set up for a bearish move now. You go, okay, I'm going to go to the 8-hour chart, okay, and you can see here, I'm going to watch for retracements and I'm going to watch for further sell signals on lower highs and really stack up the trade idea, and the confirmation, I guess. It's extra confirmation when you start seeing further weakness develop, following on with your trade idea. So you could do that and wait for another sell here, even on the 4-hour, I guess. You can wait for a convincing sell here, but you can see even on the 4-hour, you can see that there's a potential for a retracement there and for the market to sort of bounce off that level again and give us another sell signal, which you could use to actually build up your trade, like frame your trade around. And that will probably give you a tighter stop as well. It's a little riskier because you don't get your stop above the highs that you want, but even when you take a retracement entry here, you still got a pretty beefy stop. So using that intraday method, the top-down analysis method, you can tighten up your stop a bit, but it does dial up your risk a little bit. When you do the top-down analysis way on the intradays, you really got to see like some decent follow through out of that. Okay, so here's gold. So gold is what I entered this week. Hopefully it follows through. We're starting to see some signs that the trade is healthy. We got some rejection of the highs yesterday. So hopefully we see some follow through here. And yeah, I talked about this in the previous video. We got that nice fake out signal here, and if you actually line up this level, back through history here, you can see there's been some pretty decent bearish reversals that have happened off this area here. So that convinced me enough to set up a trade. So I'm probably just going to stick with this for the moment. I know the other trades are tempting, the euro pound, that's tempting. Silver, I don't really see much going on here at the moment, unfortunately. It's just a little bit messy, and it almost looks like a squeeze pattern building up. So the Euro Aussie is what I put as the chart of the day. This is a very big weekly level as well. So it's a major level, so there's a reason that the market would want to completely reverse here. It's a pretty big bearish statement, nice fake out of the highs up here, basically closed as an outside day. And again, you really need to get a retracement entry on this to make it worthwhile, or you could use that intraday method that I just talked about. So we've hit the 30-minute mark. I've talked a bit too long, so I'm just going to plow through here, and we're just going to look at any markets that just jump out at me. The rest, pound CAD is pretty weak at the moment here, looking like a nice trend. If we do get a retracement and a sell on a lower high, that might be our last opportunity to catch the move into this weekly level here, where we're likely to see this trend terminate. Aussie CAD starting to show signs of bullishness off this major level here. Got more of an indecision doji, so this is like the Australian dollar. We're hitting a major level now, but we're not really seeing the signs that we want to see to really go in with that counter trend position here. Because this is a doji, it's a pretty large one, which I don't really like the larger dojis. I like the smaller ones, but a break of the high here, that could be a play. You'd have to figure out a way to tighten up your stop, I think, because otherwise it's a little too wide. Euro yen, so yeah, Euro yen's sort of playing out off lower highs here, so we're out of position to be looking for sell signals at the moment. We need to see another correction. Pound yen, breaking the lower lows here. So if we see further signs of sell signals of weakness, further signs of weakness with sell signals under the level, we could consider that. But if we look to the left here, we can see the market bounced out of this region, so it may happen again. We're sitting on the bottom of a huge move, so if you position into a sell, you'd only want to go for like 1 to 3 probably, because you can't expect the market to keep going down like that. And you can see when it did that before, we've got a very sharp correction here. Aussie yen, look for sell signals. We've got a swing level through there, so any kind of sell signal off that swing level area or off the mean value here looks pretty decent. New Zealand dollar, don't really like it. Swinging's a little awkward here. Structure's not really there. So I'm just going to skip these. So Swiss franc yen is actually the second on our strongest currency movement for the 8 hour. So that's interesting. So we can see this week has been quite a decent move. We go to the 8 hour here again. Yeah, so it's pretty decent movement there on the 8 hour. But you got to use your brain a little bit. You can't just, like I said, you can't just get the tool and just start trading what is on the leaderboard. So you can see here what's going on is there's a upward channel developing. So we've got to work with that structure. So selling down here, you're way out of position. It's a very high risk spot to be selling. Really, you should be looking for strong buy signals here to work with this channel structure. So that's what I'd be doing for that. Again, I don't really like the idea of selling here after this huge move down. I don't really like the idea of buying either, because it's not the major level, I don't think. We did get a reversal off here as well, but yeah, I guess there's a case to build for a counter trend position here. I just like the other charts at the moment that we've discussed, Euro Pound and Euro Aussie. CAD Swiss franc showing us a big rejection candle here, which doesn't look too bad. We can see that this is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and this is making up the right shoulder here. So it's off a higher low. We're coming off a major level, so we're bouncing off a major level. We come down, we make a high low, and we print a very strong signal as a continuation signal off this bounce of this major level. I like it. I think this is a nice setup, something I would go for, and you could ride that out for at least 1 to 3 there. I'm not going to take it though, just because I'm probably going to stick with one trade, that gold trade there. But I really like this kind of setup. Euro Swiss franc, we're on the support there if you're interested in looking for buy signals if you trade this market. Aussie Swiss franc, again we're seeing the bullishness out of the Aussie. If we had something a bit more like that on the Aussie, a bit more beefier, we could consider trading that on as a counter trend. But I don't know, the Aussie signal on the Aussie US dollar looks a little anemic, but this one is out of position. I don't really see the major level here. We had a bounce here. I mean, this might turn out to be a full blown reversal, but with yeah, I just don't see a major level here. All the evidence here is basically supporting the level I had marked as the major level. So that's really where we want to see this kind of signal, but it's off position, so it just doesn't fit. Okay, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Now we're getting a bounce there as well. Should we be worried about counter trend positions here? Not really. Don't really see the major level there. Again, the major level's down here, so that's where we'd focus on the counter trend positions. Oil, we already discussed oil. There's nothing new there. The Dow signal. So if anyone took that, this was a chart of the day, I think. If anyone took that, you'll be very happy after last session, and you probably want to set your targets up here or up here at the all-time highs, somewhere around there, as that's likely going to act as a blocking feature for higher prices. US dollar index has been a bit of a mess, but you can see that the US dollar is the strongest currency this week on the 8-hour, which basically reflects the this week's trading hours. Bit of a mess on the daily chart though, so we're probably not really interested in this too much. But if we do go on the 8-hour, you can see the last set of candles have been pretty clear. So basically the algorithm's looking at things like, what it does is it looks is the price like pushing into into new highs. So it looks to the left and see if there's any congestion. If it's free of congestion and this is the highest point with a certain amount of candles, it's going to say, well, yeah, it's moving, it's strong. If we looked at a point like here and we look to the left, we see a lot of congestion, a lot of candles. We're not really sitting at the highest point. All price action kind of metrics that I calculated in there and stuffed in there and use them to calculate what I think is a good metric for currency strength. Cryptocurrencies, Litecoin, yeah, pretty good. That's a nice trend, but here's our swing level through here. Here's our hotspot where we really want to see a buy signal occur. Bitcoin Cash doesn't really look as active as the Bitcoin, so I'd probably stick with Bitcoin. And that's it, US dollar again. So that's the end of the Wednesday market walkthrough. Hopefully the Wednesday is a better time slot and just works better with the way the markets work through the week. Frees up my weekend, and yeah, let me know what you think about it. A couple of things we're looking out for really is those euro trades, the euro pound and the euro Aussie are basically in the spotlight for today. All right, guys. Well, good luck on the charts this week, and I'll see you in the war room.